Welcome to Recapper. Let's discuss 10th episode of Beef. The ninth episode concluded with a shot of a crow observing the aftermath of the car crash. This brings to mind a story that Danny shared about his childhood, in which he nursed a crow back to health after its leg was broken and took care of it, remarkably. The crow in the final scene is the same one that Danny helped years ago. Danny communicates with another crow, who mentions that Amy once frightened its uncle. They decide to come to Danny's aid if he ever needs it, and this promise is fulfilled when Amy attempts to apprehend him with her gun. The crows attack Amy, allowing Danny to escape. Danny devises a plan to trick Amy into falling down a slope, which causes her to sustain severe injuries. When Amy awakens, she is unable to walk and cannot locate her weapon. Despite being in separate locations, Danny and Amy eventually end up on neighboring rocks, exchanging insults until Danny mentions Paul. Amy cares for Paul and becomes concerned when Danny mentions him. Approaching him with compassion, Danny offers to assist her in navigating the terrain, carrying her on his shoulders. When he declines to share his Skittles, which he keeps in his pockets due to his sweet tooth, Amy pinches his head. They both spot a gun nearby and struggle to acquire it. With Amy ultimately breaking Danny's shoulder, even in their dire circumstances, Danny taunts Amy by suggesting that George would not check on her after all she has put him through. Amy instructs Danny to gather elderberries as a source of sustenance, as they are edible. After confirming the safety of the berries, they both consume them, only to regret it later when they start vomiting and feeling the effects of poisoning. Amy confesses that she is not an expert on plants and only Googled to sound knowledgeable. Danny suggests seeking help, but Amy threatens him with a gun, which turns out to be a wooden stick, and Danny is not even present. They engage in a humorous conversation that includes pointless questions about chemicals and lactose intolerance. As the night wears on without any assistance, Amy hallucinates and struggles to keep track of time. Unlike the film Fall, where the hallucinations are about a deceased person, Amy's visions are not as intense. Danny, who is yet to vomit, reflects on how their parents' pain and trauma have been passed down to them. Hearing the rustling of leaves, Danny sees that it is Amy, and they both realize they are hallucinating under the moonlight, as their sense of time and reality returns. Amy and Danny discuss the role of the 80s generation as technology's guinea pigs. They reflect on how that era had the worst experiences with addiction and limited opportunities, and Amy agrees with Danny's observations. When Amy mentions Paul, Danny admits feeling guilty for not being honest with him and only trying to bring him down to his level. Amy responds by saying that everyone wants to be seen, but not necessarily for who they truly are. We all want to hide our flaws and weaknesses from the world that can cause us pain and suffering. Amy and Danny are just two examples of this inherent brokenness. Amy reveals that she dislikes George's vases and even broke one on purpose, blaming it on June. Her existential dread becomes apparent when she questions whether George and June still feel like home to her. This is the most poignant depiction of depression we have seen in the series so far, especially considering their uncertain future. Amy admits that she thought June would complete her. But neither the business nor George's companionship did so. She even feels that June does not love her unconditionally, unlike the way she loves June, causing Danny to quip that all babies are monsters who cannot do anything to get what they want. Amy and Danny's conversation blurs the lines between reality and imagination. Their exchange becomes especially surreal when they begin talking as if they had swapped bodies, reminiscent of the movie Jennifer's Body. This moment represents their newfound understanding of each other's brokenness, a level of acceptance they have not experienced before. The scene is masterfully crafted by the creators of the show. During this exchange, Amy and Danny come to see each other in a new light, acknowledging and accepting their own flaws and shortcomings, which the rest of the world often fails to do. They discuss incidents from each other's pasts, reinforcing the idea that they are not normal, and questioning why they were made this way while others were not. Their conversation takes on a philosophical and abstract quality, but the intricacies do not matter anymore because they will not survive the night. In a poignant moment, Amy and Danny forgive each other and recognize that their anger towards each other was rooted in their own self-hatred. They apologize for hiding their true selves and vow to no longer do so. Ultimately, All they wanted was companionship and to not feel alone. It is a powerful moment of acceptance and vulnerability. That was the recap of 10 episode of Beef. Thank you.